Hey guys, welcome back to Cando's Collectibles. We're here to review the Omnibus Uncanny Xforce. It's one of our recent reads. Amazing book. Kind of hard to get your hands on at the moment.
Very expensive too.
So it retails at around $100. It's came in and out of printing for the last couple months, where it'll go on IST and some LCS, so local comic book stores, cheap graphic novels. It'll go on all those, and then it sells out. No, I got this one from a Facebook group.
Okay.
So I got this one from one of the members there. So yeah, so we can chat about that. We were at the local comic book store on Friday, where we usually that's when we usually pick up our weekly pulls, right? And we saw this bad boy here.
And to go with the theme of Uncanny Xforce, we decided to get the Uncanny Xforce uniform, Taco Truck Edition Deadpool statue.
Yep. So saw him, say, hey, we're going to do a video on that guy. So worked out perfect. But we'll talk about him at another time. So here's the cover for Uncanny Xforce. Really like the colors, right?
The pinkish reddish kind of reminds me of oddly enough, like a looming threat in the background, kind of like the end of the world type look.
Oh, yeah.
I really like it, especially since it kind of pops out with all the darker colors around, especially with the black and white uniforms. It really just kind of explodes out there. Mm-hmm. At first I didn't like it, but then after a while, it actually kind of grew onto me.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things where I'm like, that actually looks really cool. Really smart choice.
Yeah, I was kind of like that when it first showed up. I've always liked the X-Force uniform, so they're the more covert, right? So they're the black, white, the grays.
More edgy.
Yeah, even Psylocke, she has a black uniform or a really dark purple. Same thing with Archangel's colors. Archangel's colors is usually like a pinkish and a green, or like a teal green or something. And they toned all that down a lot. So on the front here, you have Archangel, Psylocke, Wolverine, Phantom X, Deadpool way down this way, and what am I saying? That's it. Okay, that's on the cover. On the spine here, you have Deadpool, Psylocke, and Wolverine. I actually really like this spine on the shelf next to the other Omnibus. So I've got a bunch of the Xmen ones that were all just lined up right there. This one actually looks really good next to them.
Yeah, it pops out, especially because of the blue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and one thing I like about the Marvel ones, I don't care if the spine looks the exact same, right? So like DC, they've got every spine known to man, right? It's completely different.
I personally like it, at the same time, it's also like it kind of just, it doesn't look as nice and organized as Marvel does, but at the same time, I still like it. It's kind of one of those like iffy things on me.
No, I get you. And so that's what I was saying, is that I like it, but I like that they have the Marvel on it. So I kind of wish DC would put that up there, the little red line, and kind of ties them together a little bit. Here's the rear, here's the back. So you have Nightcrawler, Archangel, Wolverine. You got Deadpool, Phantom X, Psylocke, Deathlock, who I haven't seen Deathlock in a really long time. I can't remember this girl's name, but she was Phantom X's assistant, essentially, on the ship. So, so we'll dive into some of this here in a little bit. So it's written by Rick Remender. Amazing. This was actually my first take on Rick Remender's writing, and so there's a plethora of artists, right? So you've got Leonardo Manco, Jerome Pena, Rafael Albuquerque, Billy Tan, Robbie Rodriguez, Greg Ticini, Phil Noto, Mike McCone, Julian Totino Tedesco, Dave Williams. Okay, so it's a lot of different artists, and you can't really tell the difference when you're going from story to story, except for one of them. Right?
Yeah.
So
and they all look good too. Like the only way you could truly, I couldn't really tell unless I actually focused, except for that one story.
Right.
Like the first story, the only way you can really tell the difference is by the shading of it. Like they'll have a bit more like dots and splotches all around.
The first story was a lot more colors.
Yeah.
Right. So we'll see. We'll kind of walk through it. A little bit of spoilerish. You'll see. So we're really bad about that part. I usually put it in the title though, just so you guys understand. Here's the front of the hardback. just the black. Uncanny Xforce. Again, these colors look really good on the black, right?
Yeah.
Spine.
It really pops out.
I really like the back. It's real subtle. It's just the characters there in green. The only thing I don't like is that it's like a matte or satin finish. Really shows all the scuffs and everything else, right? So you gotta be real careful when you're reading it. It's just you're going to have marks if you read of this thing.
Yeah, like literally everything would get on there from dust to
just anything.
Yeah,
right.
It was honestly a little annoying, but I mean, we still kept it in good shape. But still,
yeah,
it was like.
So this was my first introduction to Phantom X.
Oh,
was it?
Yeah.
So he's got like
a to start reading his voice in my head with the French accent.
Yeah, he's French. He's got a flying ship that talks and is just as much a part of the group as everyone else is, which is interesting.
Yeah.
So you'll notice we're in a different setting. I meant to say this in the beginning. We're at the house in the country, and so we had to block the back with some. The sun was peeking through, so we brought in our puzzle there to block the sun. But yeah, we don't have the Omnis in the background. We've got pinball machines. So yeah, we'll talk about that later. One thing I kind of like is that Archangel. So Warren Worthington III, he funds the X-Force projects, and so they're kind of in his base, which he has like a old Sentinel head and everything in there too.
Oh yeah, I thought that was actually really cool.
Yeah. And then,
so this is an example of with the shading.
Oh yeah.
Is with Deadpool's face right there.
Yeah. So you'll see, there's a little different. Now, Malachi and I are both on the same page here as far as we like this Deadpool better.
Yeah. He's still the funny and / smart aleck mercenary that we all known and love. Mm-hmm. But not too much to the point of where he's just a pain in the butt to actually read.
Yeah.
Like the riding on unicorns and all that. Like I've never been a fan of that. To me, it's just a little obnoxious. Like in King Deadpool, he's okay, but after reading Uncanny Xforce, he's not as like enjoyable as he was in this, where it was mainly his interactions with all the other superheroes that I love the most. Mm-hmm. Like just the quick jokes, the smart aleck remarks, like what happened to Wolverine, his weight loss plan.
Yeah, we'll talk. Maybe we'll see that one later on.
Yeah.
And so I like it because he's still the badass mercenary. Merc with the mouth. But this one he's just a smart ass.
Yeah.
And I like it a lot better than the new take on him for a lot of things. So
yeah, and not as many fourth wall breaks to the point of where it almost makes you feel weird reading it.
Yeah, I agree. Now we're into the next book, and you can see a different art style again, right?
But not enough to make you lose.
Yeah, it doesn't make you lose focus in the story.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I was a little lost. I wasn't really sure what was going on. All right, and then Deadpool comes into. You got War. That's one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. That's War.
Yeah, that was War.
A
boy transforms into a monster or something like that.
He's like a big minotaur statue
guy.
And if you guys don't know, Archangel was Angel at one point, and then Apocalypse changed him into Archangel, right?
Mm-hmm. Which is the main struggle of the first part of the story, is him going through that change.
Yes. And so Betsy Braddock, Psylocke, helps him go through a bunch of stuff, delving into his dreams and everything else to try and help him. Because he's, like Kai said, he's constantly fighting that stuff.
Yeah.
I like this page actually quite a bit.
Yeah.
This is when they're flying. But the colors and stuff in this book are really, really enjoyable. They're really good.
It's almost relaxing in a way,
mm-hmm.
but also like it's relaxing, but not at the same time if you put it down.
Yeah, no, I get you. And you're going through this whole thing, totally confused on what's going on, and then all of a sudden, they get to this one part, and
explains it all.
There's a boy there, right? That's the whole premise of the book. So it's kind of you get it in the first little bit here, but they're there to kill Apocalypse, and Apocalypse had been reborn.
Yeah, which is basically like the controversial thinking of killing baby Hitler. He hasn't done anything wrong yet, but you know he will.
Yeah.
What is the right decision?
Right. They talk about that quite a bit in the book here.
I think they even used that as an example too.
They did.
Yeah.
So if you could go back and kill Hitler, would you?
Exactly.
Right? Or, I mean, what if he doesn't do the things he was going to do, right? And
Yeah.
so that's a huge argument in this book. It's back and forth of, he's just a boy. Why are you going to kill a boy? At one point, Deadpool can't even kill him, right?
The dude who could kill almost anything.
Yeah, the guy who could kill almost anything. So, yeah. They do a lot of, like, space battles in the beginning, right? Which is great.
Yeah, Deadpool doesn't need to wear a suit. I mean, he can't die, so he just suffocates in it. That's really what I was thinking about the entire time. I'm like, wait, he's not. I'm like, oh yeah, because he can't die. He just literally just sits there.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you remember who the drummer guy is?
No, all I do is just remember the fact that he died. Well, no, he didn't die, but his wife and kid died, and he just started drumming forever in this sense of a form, and then it kind of causes people pain.
Yeah. So the four horsemen of the apocalypse. There's war. There's pestilence. Famine, and war, pestilence, famine. We'll figure it out. We'll figure that out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I think actually he's famine, because essentially what he does.
No, because that's the guy who does all the rusting of the metals and stuff like that.
Oh, it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that bug lady.
We'll figure it out. So this one here, this is pestilence, right? And she's the crazy one because
she looks normal, and all of a sudden, just huge jaw with bugs that goes all over the place, all over Deadpool, inside people. It's truly terrifying, especially once you see like her original story, like her when it shows everybody's origins. It's kind of cool. I like that. Actually, Deadpool singing and being
yeah. Actually, that's not pestilence either. I can't remember who that is.
Yeah.
So there's four horsemen, but anyway, this one here, he's the one that infects them with diseases.
Yeah, it has to come from certain metals.
Yeah. So whichever metals that he's touching, he can do different diseases, and so he wears a bunch of rings.
Yeah.
Of different types.
And they did something really cool with him, with the fact that since Wolverine, everybody knows his body's filled up with metals because of the experiment, that they did something special with that, where it's like, oh hey, well, he has metal within him. All he had to do was just touch his claws, and then he's screwed.
And they call themselves the Final Horsemen, actually, in this one.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and here's a special Rob Liefeld cover.
Wait, that was Rob Liefeld?
This one, yes. So, which I like this one.
Yeah, it's actually really.
I told you I like Rob Liefeld's stuff, and his Deadpool always looks really good.
Captain America.
Captain America's a little different, right? So he did fine except for that one picture, and just again, there's no feet in this picture. So, so they kind of go through the next one. They go through all the different horsemen. Okay. So that's war. The drummer boy over here.
And like
doesn't say. Oh, he's famine. I was correct. He is my famine. Then the next one is the Chinese lady. Pestilence. All right, I was right on that one.
Yeah.
So then, what's this one?
That would have to be.
Oh, that's death. Yeah, I forgot about that. Okay.
I would have thought that the drummer would have been, because you always see the drummers at the funerals.
So it makes them super insanely hungry, right? And so that's what he's doing. So yeah, so I kind of like it. They took me away from it a little bit in the beginning because I was like, I'm not sure about this.
Yeah, it was a little weird at first. You're just like, these guys don't really fit in.
Yeah, they don't.
And after a while, you actually kind of grew to love them.
Yeah.
And a love-hate relationship. Oh, now there's one of those scenes I was telling you about. How one thing I kind of like is one thing me and my dad would discuss is how DC never really didn't really shy away that much from gory things, but Uncanny Xforce really proved otherwise.
Yeah.
With the fact that
on the back of this, it actually says parental advisory.
Yeah.
I gave you advisory.
Yeah.
So.
Even though I don't need it.
So.
But yeah, like this one, a lot of like even moments where even like I think there was one moment where I got queasy, and I don't really get queasy from stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I kind of liked it.
What you mean, like this part where Deadpool is feeding Archangel pieces of his skin to keep him alive?
That was awesome, though. Promise me you'll continue eating.
Yeah, if I tell you, do you promise to keep eating? He's like, well, where did you get this food?
that was just funny to me in general. Like,
yeah.
Yet again, another great Deadpool moment where it's his actual personality, like from the first one that we ever seen him in.
Yeah, yeah.
And they kept him very continuous throughout it.
Let's keep talking for a few minutes.
All right.
Let me see.
But trying to think here. There were a few other cool stories throughout it. Later on, Phantom X does do the bad deed that everybody didn't have the guts to do, which actually is something that you want to remember when you first read it, because I totally thought it would be like a one moment and off, but it actually carries out throughout the story, which is what I really like, because unlike it just being, oh, hey, it happened, it's in the past, we're done, this was more of, now we're not going to let this go. We're going to keep on reminding you, you just killed a child. You did the unthinkable. You did something that most people wouldn't do. And
this is one of the artists that I didn't really feel too much. I tried to find who it was. I can't really.
Yeah, it was too cartoony for me.
It's I think it's Raphael Albuquerque. It just wasn't. I don't know. Detail wise, it just wasn't there.
Yeah, but yeah. So he kind of gets a lot of crap for it throughout the story, but he also, even he gets onto himself for it, but he also has a reason for it later on that you learn. I'm not going to go into that right now. But,
so here's a great part.
I love this story.
So back when I was a kid, Deathlock used to be around, right? So he's a cyborg from the future. And what I like about this one is that he's got all these other Deathlocks coming, but it's like there's Thing, there's Captain America,
Spider-Man. I think Iron Man was there too, which was kind of funny to think about, because it's like, oh, hey, you see a cyborg Iron Man?
Yeah.
Let's do it already, cyborg. Though.
Oh, Hawkeye.
Oh yeah, that one was
right. So it's like Deathlock Avengers.
Yeah. They all basically had like the same exact spotting where everything was. So to me, it just wasn't really split. But on Spider-Man, it looked good.
Yeah, Spider-Man looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
But then there's Deathlock.
Yep. So first time I ever read about him. So
yeah, I liked him. I enjoyed him in the book.
Yeah, I was expecting him to turn on them or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So they're essentially they're hunting down Deathlock. No, they're hunting down Phantom X. And then Deathlock's there to kind of help them out a little bit.
Yeah. And then he's just like, I like you guys. I'll stay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So then he starts tagging along with them throughout the rest of the story, and it's great. It's a cool little. I don't know. It's just a cool little gimme in there, and never expected him to be into the story. So moving along a little bit, there was a big part here where Magneto joins. He comes to investigate, see what's going on. Because again, they're X-Force, they're undercover, they're not supposed to be doing certain things.
Yeah, they're basically the FBI Secret Service version of the X-Men.
Yeah. And so Magneto needs them to do something for him, right? Yeah. And then one of the cool things too about this is if you haven't read Age of Apocalypse, some of this is gonna be a little confusing.
Yeah, because I was a bit confused with a few things because I never read them.
Right. So there's Dark Beast. Right. So Dark Beast is in this. He's from the Age of Apocalypse, and then later on in the book, they actually go to that world. Right. It's a total alternate world. And Nightcrawler's in there. Nightcrawler's different. Wolverine's in there, and he's different.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's missing a hand, right?
Yeah, he's like full out cyborg, like cybernetic.
Yeah, Sabretooth is a good guy.
Oh
right?
yeah,
Sabretooth is helping. So there's
which is funny because Logan actually clashes with them like all the time because of it.
Yeah, Jean Grey's back. Right, she's not dead anymore. So Logan is all super confused and everything else. So it's a great story. Age of Apocalypse is really good to read. Yeah, there's Logan with his missing hand.
Yep.
Which is like a gun
And
blaster.
he's
right?
like, yeah, because he literally killed was it his daughter with it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like totally brutal too. Like it was no remorse shown. I think that's one of the reasons. I think that's partially the doing of the cybernetics, or he did the cybernetics because he just became like basically like completely cold-hearted in a form. Like it's basically like a dictator.
Right. So then the rest of the book, they kind of go through the rest of the story on finishing a couple things. Then they start tying into some of the things that kind of happened in the first half of the book. And you start to really understand that they have a lot of internal struggles going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so with the internal struggles going on, and then they've got like the people from Age of Apocalypse, they got like Iceman and everything. Iceman's going against them because he's one of the bad guys in the Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
So they have so many things going against them, trying to save the world, essentially, right? Don't want to reveal too much. Want you to get surprised from the story. I don't think we revealed too much as is.
Yeah, no, I mainly just am revealing like these minor cool moments, stuff that will kind of bring you into it more.
So yeah, great book. I would highly recommend it. It's one of the better ones out there in the X-Men series, in my opinion. There was one spot in here that I didn't really enjoy.
But
this is an example of the artwork that I did not like. I think that's Tedesco.
I think it was.
I mean, you can't see anything. There's no detail. I mean, it
was kind of hard to tell some people apart from others, or to the point where it would be like, oh, hey, you can tell them too much.
I'm sure he's really good on some stories.
Yeah.
On this,
but to jump from a really detailed thing to basically almost like a cartoon.
Mm-hmm. So essentially, they go to, I think it's Otherworld. Is that what it's called?
I think so. Yeah.
It's Otherworld, Dark World. No, I think it's
It's
Otherworld.
Basically Phantom X's and his.
No, so it's Betsy Braddock, Psylocke, and her family members because it's Captain Britain. Right.
Yeah.
So. And Captain Britain is the guardian of, I think it's on the Otherworld. So it's essentially like the Knights of King Arthur and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's a magic area. And so, I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it. And I really enjoy certain things. Like, I enjoy fantasy-based stuff. But I even dropped Excalibur from the comic book series anyway. So, because I just didn't enjoy it. So, oh look, that's a Venom variant for that cover.
As a fan of Venom, I really like seeing the symbiote version of the Xforce version of him.
Yeah.
Because this normal just Venomized Deadpool is really cool, but
no, so Nightcrawler was cool in this because Nightcrawler in this is actually from the Age of Apocalypse one. They kind of go through, they finish up the story, and it's really, really good. The book, trying to get to the end.
One thing that was a bit difficult for me to get used to is the way how Wolverine talks. I kept on having to remember this, how he talks. He's not saying, I'm doing this. He's like, stuff like that. I was like, yeah. I was like, why is he saying it like that?
Yeah. At the back of the book, they've got a bunch of the variants. Right. So a bunch of the variants are back here. They go through a bunch of the alternate artworks, and they kind of describing a lot of the stuff with Wolverine and everything. So I always enjoy looking at these, seeing the sketches and the pencils before they get all finished and everything.
It looks even worse without
Oh
color.
no, actually, so that's Greg Tocchini. That's the artist that we didn't really enjoy.
Yeah. But one thing I would definitely like to point out, as I said of how he did well with Deadpool, is that near the end, well actually at the end, Deadpool kind of had like a heart-to-heart moment with one of the characters, and it was even funny at the end. Like he left them with something. You'll have to read to see that funny part. But they, as I said, they basically made Deadpool more of a three-dimensional character instead of the, I want to say 40 because he's breaking the fourth wall. Get it?
Yeah.
but yeah, and I really enjoyed that because it made Deadpool more realistic, all the while still keeping his funny side of him instead of just being obnoxious.
Yeah.
But,
sorry, that's our Ghostbusters game, pinball machine. Goes off every hour. So, any final thoughts? Final things? How would you rate it? Do you really enjoy it?
So, as a person who doesn't really read X-Men that much, I actually really did enjoy it. Some parts I didn't, so I would at least rate it around a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, I think I had read this. I had read all on the Facebook groups and everything. Everyone talking super highly of it.
Yeah.
And I was just getting into the omnibuses, and this one came up, and I was like, well, everyone's talking so highly of it, I might as well grab it.
I'm glad you did. I liked it.
Yeah, and so I did, and I grew up reading X-Men, so this was a little different take on some things, so I knew what was going on. I haven't read Age of Apocalypse yet. I have the Omni for it. I do. So so we got to go through and read that at some point. We'll review it. I think the next thing we're going to talk about is Aquaman.
Yep.
Right. So Aquaman by Jeff Johns.
And after that, The Flash.
Yep. The Flash, and then so again, this is a collectibles channel, right? So, and one of the things we're going to also talk about are pinball machines, right? Because we've got a couple pinball machines here, and I mean, if anyone collects pinball machines, that's a different game. That's a different beast in general.
It's
so
just a fun dragon to conquer.
So we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna do probably 2 episodes of that coming up. Yeah. So give us a like. Please subscribe to the channel. Turn on those notifications so you can see us. You can find us on Facebook at Candor's Collectibles. I post every time that a video gets released. And thanks for watching.
Yeah, make sure to leave a comment down below of what you liked and what you didn't, so then we can know what to improve on and what not to improve on. Yeah,
and if you made it this far, if you don't like, because we kind of do a little bit more spoilers than I think we should. If you guys want more, you want less, let us know, right? Because we like to hear these things. We mainly do this just because we enjoy doing it, and it gives us something to do together.
Yeah, because we usually talk about comics together all the time, so we're basically just kind of doing that, except with the camera in front of us.
Yeah, so awesome. Well, thank you, and see you next time.